Nothing like a good martini to start any day these days. Martini is the new coffee, in my opinion. Hello, Beauty Squad. It's your girl, TeeTee, Tanya. Welcome back to my channel of all things life, love, and beauty. But Mondays, we focus on love and relationships. And I thank you guys for watching. I love your comments, that you've been giving me feedback, and I really appreciate it. And it's been so great to do this. I've gotten some great comments, great feedback on how my thoughts or my advice has helped someone in whatever phase of their relationship is in. Which brings me to today's topic, is to tell, we women, we constantly are trying to always hold on to relationships and men when just the force of nature is trying to pull him and all of that away. Which my topic is, he's just not into you. I mean, it's just, sometimes it is really just that simple. And there's signs. There's always signs. And whether or not we pay attention to those signs, take heed to those signs, is solely and completely, in our court. So I'm going to give you a few tips to pay attention to some of those signs that he is just not into you. Before we get into it, thank you again for joining me today on Martini Monday. And I started doing, my makeup because I'm trying to not have the videos go super long. But thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends, tell your girlfriends. We're here to talk. This is a place of, where you can be free. You can express yourself. You can comment, and you can, say what you're feeling, about all that we are talking about. This is a circle of trust. This is all the circle of trust here. So let's get into, he's just not that into you, ladies. Stay tuned. Okay, so I have notes, right? So I'm gonna, if I look down, it's because I'm looking at notes, because I am forever, I like to put my thoughts down on paper and hold them, kind of keep them in my phone, too, as well. And as I mentioned, in my intro, we women are constantly, always trying to hold on to something that we probably should have let go a long time ago. And truth be told, we women have more power in the relationship than we actually give ourselves credit for. And until we realize that and acknowledge that, we will continue to chase guys who just don't want to be with us. And it's just not a good use of time. So a few things, I think, some of the signs that are there that that even I have ignored. And I think that I only came up with about 3, and I'll, elaborate as much as I can on each of them. You see my wing? I'm working on my wing in this time of quarantine. I have been working on my wing because I struggle with wing liner, and I'm actually proud of how it came out today, but because I've been practicing, but that's a whole nother video. But we women set the tone for relationships and how they are going to flow and or work. And once we do that, then I'm gonna say, we are a lot of times in control. We are a lot of times in control, and we just don't take advantage enough, I think, of that control. And so here's how, a couple things as to how, or things that he is not interested in. Okay, I'm looking at my notes here. And men can be just as manipulative as we can be. And men will be manipulative in a sense that they'll see how far they can push you, right? When it relates to the relationship. And don't let them push you too long and too far, I'm going to say, because it's not going to benefit you in the long run. It is not. He's not sure, a lot of times, how far they can push us into something that we really don't want to. And then at that point, when they keep pushing and pushing, that's when they start taking advantage of us and in the relationship. Another hint, he's just not into you. A lot of times he's not sure if he wants you or doesn't want you. Either you do or you don't, right? It's not, this is not a game. There's emotions and feelings involved in that. Either you know or you don't. And so when they're unsure, they play these stupid little games. And that goes back to number one. How far can I push her? Either, pushing her away or, we're just going to fall into this relationship by accident. And that has happened. It's happened to me. You fall into relationships by accident. And, in that, a lot of times that second one, he's not sure if he wants to be with you. So what does he keep doing? He continues to see other women in the meantime, which means that you're off to the side and he only wants to see you when he wants to see you. And that's bullshit. And you know it. And he will, as I say today, he'll ghost. He will disappear. He'll pop up when he fucking feels like seeing you. And that's really not fair to you at all in the relationship. That's hint number two, that he is solely not into you by any means. And when you ask the infamous question, I spoke in my last one about ultimatums. And when you ask the question we have all asked, every man is, where are we going in this relationship? Oh boy, that question, a lot of times we don't want to know the answer to it, but I tell you, that will tell you a lot. If he stutter steps with his answers or tries to change the subject or says something like, you know where you stand. And of course I like you. We spend time together, which leads me to number three as to why he's not into you. It's time. It's time. My mother told me a long time ago, when guys, again, before it was called ghosting, they would just disappear. That if a man wants to see you and spend time with you, he will move mountains. He will move the earth to be with you. And I'm not saying, a lot of times, you want them to drop what they're doing, even though we do a lot of times, but he will make it happen. He will find time to be with you if that's really what he wants to do. So when you give him that ultimatum, and another thing he'll say is, we spend time together. You're like, bullshit. I haven't seen you in a week or 2 weeks or a month. When have we actually spent time together to get to know each other? Have a conversation? Go to dinner? And if you do go to dinner, it's to the cheapest restaurant he can probably find, because he doesn't care. He is just not into you. Do you talk to him every day? Do you guys just text each other? And I'm a big proponent of, let's pick up the phone and talk. Why can't we just do that? Why do we have to constantly talk through text? Pick up the damn phone and call me and say, hey, how you doing? Whatever the case may be. And you spend time together. And those are telltale signs that, he likes you, for starters. If he's out with you in public, if he's all, why don't you cook? Or, oh, I just come over, you come over and we can make something or we can order in. Why don't you want to go out in public? That's another sign that we ignore when you don't get out amongst the other living people and share, this world, this big open space. He's not into you. And you need to understand that if he's not spending time with you, you're not talking on the phone besides texting, not going out on dates, just no interaction whatsoever, and you see him every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever the case is, he's not into you, ladies. He's not. His interest is elsewhere. Again, and he'll tell you he's not seeing anybody else. Don't believe that shit for a second. He is definitely seeing probably several women, and he's probably saying the same thing. But what I will tell you for sure, there's always one girl, one lady, one girl, one woman who is his constant. No matter what the case is, he always goes back to her. She's steady, she's stable, and for whatever reason, he's venturing out because he's playing the same games with her too. But there's always one that's stable, that's not going anywhere, that he can rely on, that he hangs out with, that he visits regularly. I guarantee you, there's always one that is just provides him the stability that he needs and that he is looking for. And because she feels like she's a stable one, he goes out and takes advantage of that and does whatever he wants to because he knows that she will always be there. Don't be that stable, she'll always be there. I've been that. Oh, she ain't going nowhere. She good. I always come back to her. That gets old eventually. I'm not going to say quick, but you figure it out. He's not into you. He is not into you. And if he can't give you any more signs than that, then I have not been paying attention at all to this person that we think we like, who we are emotionally invested in. He is not. Men don't always get emotionally invested unless they really, really, really like you. And then the signs will be easier to see because he's going to spend time with you. You guys are going to go out in public together. He's going to take you to a party. He's going to take you around his friends. Pay attention to the signs. I can't stress that enough. And even before I got married and dating, a couple times that I did, you get to a certain point where you start looking for certain things, certain traits, certain triggers, and have your bullshit meter up. And it's okay to have a wall up too, because you should, and we all get to a point, we're tired of the games. We're tired of the bullshit. Either we're going to do this or we are not going to do this. It becomes that simple. And I tell you, some men can appreciate that. And they'll be like, okay, I'm going to steer clear of her because I can't run my game on her. Some men are attracted to that. Like, okay, I like that. But be wary of them too, because sometimes they still playing games, trying to see how far they can push you into drawing you in to their bullshit. And don't fall for it, ladies. I'm telling you, do not fall for it. All right, so I'm going to finish up. I think I just put on some blush, but finish up my face here a bit, and I'm going to come back and we're going to wrap up He's Just Not Into You. Stay tuned. Okay, let's wrap this one up, because this is always a good one. And some girlfriends and I were speaking about, old relationships and, life before, we were married, or, some of my friends are still single. And the bottom line is, if you are meant to be together, you will be together. You will spend time together. You will get to know each other better. And another suggestion I would make too is bounce things off another guy. Guys know how guys think, just like we as women know how women think. And sometimes men can give definitely better advice than we can a lot of times, because we always come from a female perspective, and often there's emotions tied to that. There's nothing wrong with asking, you know, we all have those one or two trusted male friends that we can bounce things off of, and definitely take, you know, advantage of that. But I think the bottom line is, you know, giving our power away as women by basing our worth on someone else's opinion of us will always create emotional suffering. And at one point, are you done with that? Are you over with that? And if you don't learn from your past mistakes or behavior, then you are not paying attention, and you're going to continue on that trend. I said in one of my other videos, I always gravitated towards men who were not like me, because someone like me, us together, would just not be a good combination. Not that I'm explosive or anything like that, but you know, I can be extravagant. I don't need my better half to be extravagant. I need someone to level, you know, me off and the relationship off. So that creates balance, right? And when you shift into really what you want, instead of whether or not someone wants you, then freedom and liberation will take a hold of you and move you forward gracefully. And I can't say it any better than that. You know, mostly important, it's not so much as personal as it says absolutely nothing about your value as a human being, how lovable you are, or whether or not you will find Mr. Right or not. And that is solely up to us, because we set the tone in relationships, set guidelines in the relationships. You both sit down, you talk about it, you hash it out. And if the plan goes as you've talked about it, then you're probably good 9 times out of 10. But if there's not a lot of game plans going on and taking place, and if you constantly keep putting up with his shit, because I tell you, men do the things that they do because we as women allow them to do those things. There's a lot of women out there, because they want to be with someone, they put up with a bunch of shit, and you don't have to. And when you realize finally that you don't have to put up with that there's someone out there that's going to give you everything you need and want in their relationship, then you will stop dealing with that bullshit. I guarantee you that's usually how it happens. Get what you want. Pay attention to the signs. If you don't see what you want in this particular man, in this relationship, I know it's easier said than done, but do your best to walk away. Or when things come up, bring him to his attention and have him do the same to you as well too. And sometimes we do have to come to the reality, he's just not into you, or he's just not into us. The signs are there. Pay attention to the signs. That's the best advice I can give you, is pay attention, take heed, bring them up. Why this? Why that? Time. He will move mountains to spend time with you. That too is the bottom line. He will move the earth to be with you if he really, really is into you, and believe that. Until our next Martini Monday, don't forget to comment. I love reading your comments. I love the dialogue that we have going on. Until our next Martini Monday, your girl TeeTee is out.